Céad míle fáilte rómha ligean seo a nocht go dtí comórú an chéad fiche ceathair dá Cumann Lúthchleas Gael Chill Chartha. An seo tá físin garage a chumra a summary de start CLG Chill Chartha agus tá súil agin go mé leorsara fáilsíthe rubhjeirí na mlína tá neart obair le déanú go fáil. Buithe Steve se leige thug coidú doing tre scéalta green grafana faoi daoine fadó. Ní féidir ling aimimne daoine a lú mar bheith duine an fágás lethar agus ní mai sin. Má tá scéalta ná green grafana go fáil na bhacamuid bhhaidling iad écail lebardál, míle bíthe Steve lig, banig is sult as an ihe, ní bheith ocad eile Steve seo go dtí fiche ceathair. From 1924 to 1979, we give a brief summary of the decades. After 1971, it was a golden era and it is well documented. In 1919, the Donegal County Board was reorganised and affiliated to Ulster Council. Clubs like Ardara and Glenties joined the Donegal County Board in 1921. Dunloe joined the County Board in 1923. Now, before the beginning, there was plenty of common, cross-country, in the late 1800s, and you had Glenyish, Minaveen, Crov, Ardara, Port playing something like what they have in the Cooley Mountains at present. Hurling came in then with Charlie McDavid, who was principal of Muckrow School, and they played in Trelawney. One member lost an eye when a common splintered, and I think that put an end to the common on Trelawney. Handball was played a lot at Gable Ends. Soccer was played a lot in Town lands because we were close to Killybegs, and in Killybegs you had two ships which were monitoring smuggling and so on. They were the Vulcan and the Platypus, and they played our parish team in soccer. The good thing about those two boats at the time that they were a source of footballs. The building of the chapel came in 1904 to 1914. Men from various townlands of the parish worked on the building of the chapel. They got organised to play soccer games between themselves. Also came specialist painters at that time who took in their soccer skills. World War I came in 1914 to 1918. There was a lot of emigration. Off to Derry on the boat and off to Ellis Island, and maybe never came back again. Easter Sunday came in 1916. There was a rise in nationalism. Padraig Pearse came to the area at that time. The Spanish flu came in 1918 to 1920, and there was a huge loss of life, a bit like COVID today. War of Independence came in 1919 to 1921, and we had the Black and Tans, and of course they were a scourge to the area. The Civil War came in 1922 to 1923, where you had treaty versus anti-treaty. But the great thing about that end of things was that all the players playing football came together to play for their parish. In 1921, Kilcar played a game against Glen and Towney, and Kilcar won 12 points to 2 points. In 1922, in Towney, they had a field that the soccer team had been using. They bought another piece adjoining it for £5 of Biddy Jim to level the field off, which now was used for Gaelic. The first sports day ever in Towney was in 1922, and at the end of the sports day, Ardara came to play the south of the county, which was Kilcar, Killybegs, Glen. Mílog McFadden donated £5 at the time for the winners of the game. Now that £5 will be somewhere close to €400. In 1922, Ignatius Murray informed South West Board that Kilcar could not field a club. In 1923, Mick Carr, who played a game in the sports day in 1922 and won the 100 metres race, Mick Carr was invited to play with Ardara. They won the championship in 1923. Mick Carr emigrated in September 1925. The 1920s saw a major resurgence in patriotism and encouragement of all things Irish. And in 1923-24, although there's no written record, the founding members who took part were people like Joe McDevitt of Churchtown, Ignatius Murray of Barrawalla, James Murray of Barrawalla, Leo Murray, Barrawalla, Paddy Tim Bradley O'Gara, Castlecarn, Francis Carr, Bunawalla, Clumba Carr, Cogish, Dan O'Byrne, Dooneen, Hugh Gillespie, Umithgun, Pat McShane, Teelan, who was principal in Cogish, Hugh Gallagher, Larawalla, John O'Gara, Larawalla. Joe McDevitt was the main driving force in the formation of the club.
Into our town land on a night of snow rode a man from God knows where. None of us bid him stay nor go, nor deemed him friend nor damned him foe, but we stabled his big roan mare. For in our town land we're a decent sort, and if he didn't speak, well, none of us spoke.
Joe McDevitt had been in St Eunan's, St Columns of Derry and Maynooth. Then he was off to St Enda's as vice principal. And on Bloody Sunday of 1920, he was in charge of the school. The principal had gone to Crow Park, and Joe was very glad that the students that he let go came back safe. He took over the running of the Kilcar team in 1924. The first competitive game was against Ballyshannon on the 9th of the 11th, 1924. Kilcar were 0-2, Ballyshannon 1-3. Games were played late in those years to allow for the saving of the harvest. It is recorded that the game played in Towney, the ball was in the tide quite frequently. Joe McDevitt was an efficient referee at the time with experience from outside the county. The return game was played on the 18th of the 1st of 1925, Ballyshannon 3-4, Kilcar 1-1. In 1925, Kilcar won the championship by default. Ballyshannon and Ardara, according to records, did not follow the rules, and Kilcar were in third place and were given the title of county champions. Joe McDevitt, James Murray and Clumba Carr attended the county convention in 1925 on the 6th of January, and Joe was delegate to Congress at Easter 1925. Joe was put on the Vigilante Committee in 1924. This was a great position because he could travel to soccer matches and Gaelic matches. For work, Joe travelled the country, Omagh, Cork, Letterkenny, Roscommon. He was chairman of St Eunan's and was county chairman in 1946 and 1947. On the 14th of June 1925, in the Ulster Championship, Donegal played for Mana. Dan Byrne of Dooneen was midfield, and Frank McGroarty and Mick Carr were subs. As regards the club colours, the soccer teams at the very beginning had striped jersey with a royal blue colour. Players came home from college, and players in St Pat's in Dublin had a similar jersey with a gold V or amber V. A set of these jerseys were purchased in 1922-23, and later the gold V was changed to a gold hoop in the end of the 30s. The colours changed twice due to amalgamations with our neighbouring parishes in the late 60s. For example, Kilcar and Glencolmkill wore white, Kilcar and Ardara wore green and white. The blue and gold returned in 1970 and is worn with great success and pride ever since. Club crest was designed in 1988. It has a St Bridget's cross, especially made in the past by Kilcar families, with the Shanachal Ninyart Likela surrounding it. Park Towney. As regards the field in Towney, in 1922 it is recorded that land was bought to enlarge the pitch. Originally, the river went down by the grandstand and out by the pier. People fished and swam from the grandstand. Boats came into the pier at all times. On the evening of the 4th of August 1932, a violent thunderstorm and torrential rain over Ireland, Wales, Scotland and England caused great damage to houses, farms and rendered the pier useless as the channel had now shifted. This storm burst the Meenacannon Lake, which supplied the mill at Litcher, and stones were taken to Towney Bay. Then, afterwards, a wall was built along the Cashel side of the river and bollards placed on the shore end to keep the sand and gravel. The club under Hugh Higgerty, Cathal Gallagher and Phelan Brown requested a grant aid from County Board on the 21st of January 1934. Pieces of land adjoining the field were bought in 1933. They were rented, levelled, and a playing pitch had the area of 140 yards by 70 yards. In the 1980s, when the Giltrearan factories were extended and built, soil and rock were deposited around the field as it is today. And it's a great facility, and the man that's important for all this work at the time was Michael Gillespie, who pushed for the work to be completed. The field was vested as parish property in 1949, and a 99-year lease was secured from the Department of Industry and Commerce. In the 1930s, Father Thomas Griffith came from Ballintra. Father Thomas Griffith was parish priest in Carrick, and he was a curate in Ballyshannon in 1929 and was very involved in the Ballyshannon team. He organised inter-town lands for games in the Slieve League Cup 1929 to 1933. They were very successful, and then the Kilcar parish won the Democrat Cup League in 1933 and 1935. Garda Boylan, who was in Carrick at the time in 1935, was very involved in those games as well. He came from Belmullet. Camogie was played 1935 to 1937. Frank Fagan and his wife, Mrs. Fagan, came to Killybegs to work in the customs. Mrs. Fagan organised Camogie in Kilcar, Carrick, Fintra, Killybegs, Dunganelly, Ardara. In 1936, Mabel Carr and Kathleen McGinley of Kilcar, with Bridget Breslin and Annie Gaffigan of Carrick, were on the county Camogie team. Frank and Mrs. Fagan moved to Letterkenny then, and Camogie ceased to exist. In the 1940s, it is in this period we had World War II and the economic war against Britain. Fuel was short, travel was by bicycle. Kilcar were runners-up in 1940 league to Rockhill Army Barracks. The Slieve League competitions came into action again, and you had teams like Kilcar Town, Bavin, Antrams, Up to Glen, and so on. Kilcar were runners-up to Downies in the Junior Championship in 1949. In the 1950s, sport was on a low on the agenda in the early 50s due to a few accidents and tragedies, and in 1952 the organising of the senior team fell to a few members in Killybegs, which helped to win the championship in 1952 with 13 players from the Kilcar parish. Father Manus McClafferty of Filcara came as curate in 1949. He was a great inspiration to the underage members of the club, but he sadly drowned on Turlower in 1953. Late 50s semi-finals of championships were against McCool's, and Kilcar had a great team and won the league in 1959. But emigration took its toll. The players left from home. McCool's and Dundee were very strong in this period, but Kilcar won a junior league in 1961. In 1964, Kilcar won the minor football championship. Newmara was a combination of players from Kilcar, Carrick, Glencullenkill and Killybegs. The team was captained by Princess O'Byrne Doonian and managed by Brendan McShane and Joseph O'Boyle. This was a huge achievement at that time and a source of inspiration and encouragement to other players. In 1968, Kilcar reached the Junior League final with 2 draws, but the competition was not finished. Killybegs left to form a junior club in 1964, Glen left to form a junior club in 1965, and then Kilcar were junior on their own from then on. In the 1970s, Kilcar had a new lease of life. In 1971, a new era began with CLG Chill Chartha winning the Junior Championship versus St Michael's to go senior for the first time on their own. Then 3 under-21s in a row, 1972, 1973 and 1974. A senior league in 1975 and 1979. Employment at home, Giltrearan and the BIM Boatyard in Killybegs was of great benefit here. As regards senior championship, St Joseph's, a combination of Ballyshannon, Bundoran, were very strong, and they were the leaders in the senior championship at this time. They separated in the late 70s. Ladies football emerged slowly after 1980, and a costume man was formed. The local factory had ladies teams involved in competitions. At the AGM on the 6th of February 1993, a motion was put forward to enter ladies teams in the Donegal competitions. 1993 saw the ladies get organised properly in inter-county competitions. Our ladies teams now have underage involvement at all levels, with massive energy and improvement. 1995 saw the entry of under-14s. 1998 Junior Football Championship, and the captain was Eileen Higgerty. 2023 one Junior Championship versus McCool's in Ardara. At present we have players on county senior panels and underage.
Fancy Bennett knows what he's doing. Andy Cannon, and it's a goal! A goal by E. Cannon.
Into the all I see. You only have to look round you. You only have to look round you.
Jerry to Sean Genley. Sean has a chance over the bar. Kilcar have won.
Happy at the Bedford Stackley McCrosky, so hit old McCrosky, then the Yasso, he stuck his own cool, with chanting the Tussa, which is just on the Wahel Father Gushay.
Last effort, Stephen Boss has been never too far away from Sean today, and he has fouled him on this occasion. Sean sends it inside, and this is looking dangerous, but it's there. So, Harry Fox represents the 3-year reserve foul.
Mark McHugh's to his right, goes to his left. McHugh finds a bit of space now. McHugh on the right foot shoots, and Mark McHugh gets the opening score of the 2017 Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure. McHugh coming inside him now, gives it inside here to Michael Haggerty. Michael Haggerty on the right foot. Michael Haggerty, great score by Michael Haggerty.
24 years.
Bird, edge of the D. Left foot effort from Patrick Bird. It looks good from here. Captain up as he leading by example. What a great effort. Is it a great point? Yes, it is. The white flag is raised.
Comórtas Pellan na Gaeltachta. Caritús le Comórtas Pellan na Gaeltachta nuair a chuaigh Corca Duibhne Taras Fada go Gidóir an 1969. Taréis teach le chéile idir scolarí híos ag Ollscoil na Gaillimhe. Comórtas ínta tábhacht é seo de CLG Chill Chartha. Bhain Chill Chartha an Comórtas Contaí sa bhliain 1975 agus an Comórtas Náisiúnta sa bhliain 1987 híos a Bella Village. Bhain Chill Chartha an Comórtas Náisiúnta Sinsear agus Seoisiar sa bhliain 1989 écht starúil. Níl sean deanta ag cumann ar bícheile go sa tír go fáil. Bhain an cumann cuid Comórtas Náisiúnta an ceann dearna a Gil na Martara fiche cethir. Bhí Michael Mac Gillespie in na Chathair le ar an Costa Náisiúnta an ó 1977 go dtí 1980 agus bhí Charlie O'Donnell mar Rooney ar an Costa Condaí a gur 5 bliana go dtí an lániu. Brunú an lochran ar Charlie a 5-3. Agus bé an Comórtas Náisiúnta a Chill Chartha sa bhliain 5-6. Ní neart go chuir le chéile.
Martin beag macha a bhuaige. Martin a tacha drón na cice. A sé búltige Martin. A sé methe haran glasnán. Agus tá Chill Chartha go tosaigh don géadúir sa chléthe seo. Tá de croch láimhar le na chéile. Tá nómad go le imethe, nómad go le imethe.